What I would like to do now is introduce you to a treat that we are very pleased to have here at the Pritzker Military Museum and Library. We are extremely fortunate to have captured America's #1 recruiter for the largest military service. That's true. The #1 recruiter for the largest military service. But also when he speaks, he can speak across all boundaries and that definition of soldiers that we talked about before. But our guest speaker tonight is Major General Johnny K. Davis, Commanding General, U.S. Army Recruiting Command in Fort Knox, Kentucky. Prior to becoming the Commanding General of Recruiting Command, Major General Davis served as the Commanding General, U.S. Army Cadet Command, Fort Knox, Kentucky. A native of Milwaukee, only about an hour and 40 minutes north, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Major General Davis graduated from New Mexico Military Institute in 1989, receiving his commission through the ROTC Early Commissioning Program. Major General Davis has had a multitude of command and staff positions throughout his 33 years of service, including 2 company commands, one in the 82nd Airborne Division and one in the 3rd U.S. Army Regiment, the Old Guard. All right, cool. He also served as a battalion and brigade operations officer and battalion commander in the 101st Airborne Division. He was director of the Wounded Warrior Program, U.S. Army Warrior Transition Command, and commander of the 3rd U.S. Infantry Regiment. So he went back as a full-bird colonel to be the top commander, having served there as a captain, also the Old Guard. He served as executive officer to the commander, United Nations Command, Combined Forces Command, U.S. Forces Career Commanding General. Now, I think I said that right because I served, and a lot of people think it's 3 different, but it's one long title. I served in that command as a major. U.S. Forces Career Commanding General, Deputy Commanding General for Operations, the 25th Infantry Division, Commanding General, U.S. Army Joint Mobilization Command, Chief of Staff, U.S. Army Futures Command. I think I got that right, too. It's long titles here. But that's how the military works, so we know where we're going here. And Commanding General, U.S. Army Cadet Command. He has had a multitude of deployments downrange to include Kuwait, Egypt, Haiti, Iraq, and Afghanistan. In addition to his bachelor's degree in business administration from Cardinal Stretch University, Major General Davis has a master's degree, a Master's of Science in Administration and Leadership Development from Central Michigan University, and a Master's of Science from the National Defense University, National Security and Strategic Studies. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Major General Davis.
Well, that was a lot, huh? And first of all, it's an honor to be here and share, what's going on across your United States Army Recruiting Command. You know, if I have to share with you, this is a great moment. I'm close to home. I feel it. I feel the energy from Wisconsin. It's there. But never thought, when a young 17-year-old in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, grew up on the north side, that spending time with, my grandfather, World War II vet, in his garden, and he says, hey, listen, don't discount anything, shoot for the moon, and this will always pay off. So I just want to share that with you. Never thought that my journey serving this nation would lead me to this point, nor with many of the others. So I'm just humbled and very grateful for the investment by many in me over the years. But before I start, I do have a few comments, and I'll share with you what I see on the ground and really representing, the 9,000 plus U.S. Army recruiters all over the world. We have recruiters in every zip code in the United States. If there's a person living within 25 miles, they'll find a U.S. Army recruiter. I have recruiters in Japan, Korea, Micronesia, Guam, Europe, you name it, Italy, Germany. There's a U.S. Army recruiter. Wherever there's a U.S. Army base, there's a U.S. Army recruiter. Matter of fact, one of our top recruiters is a staff sergeant from Seoul. He's stationed out there near the big Army base. And we just recognized him, about a month and a half ago with the Secretary of the Army. And he is just, this is my term, he's crushing it. I think he's got 17, he enlisted 17 from Korea, and we brought him back. And it was so great because he flew in the day before, and he was so tired, from the jet lag, but we were also there to honor him. So I do want to acknowledge a bunch of guests. I know, sir, that you acknowledged many, so this is just a few, so please forgive me if I don't acknowledge everyone. But I know we got Mr. Chris Elstoff, the Australian Consul General. I think I had the opportunity to speak with him earlier. Of course, Dr. Salter, thanks for your contacting me early to get me locked in because I have many speaking engagements. Mr. Naoya Kishi, Deputy Consul General of Japan. Sir, thank you. Dr. Craig Simons, the 2023 Pritzker Literature Award for Lifetime Achievement in Writing. That's, sir, it's quite an achievement, and congratulations. Also want to recognize my table mate there. Many at the table number one, I love you. We have that going on, so we're special here. But I do want to say thanks, the former 13th Sergeant Major of the United States Army. That is the highest really enlisted soldier representing over 1 million soldiers, and that's Sergeant Major of the Army, Ken Preston. So, sir, thank you for your service. And, of course, my Ranger buddy, my Command Sergeant Major Shape Monday, I think he's been in the job, 32 days? He's like, sir, I've been in 32 days. But hey, listen, recruiting command, and if you haven't read the news, the U.S. Army's hiring, all right? So before you leave tonight, you owe me one applicant. So I'm going to go out, I will tell you, I don't stop if I stop and get gas, hey, what are you doing? What's your plan? I can help you. I know somebody. I'm in civilian and they blow me off, but it's all great. But again, more important, I like to really share my Army story. When you think about a soldier in the United States Army, there's so many of them, but every single one of them has their story. And I'm, one of those stories. Again, grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin Lutheran High School grad. And then, was on the path to, my father was a teacher at Riverside High School, wanted to pursue that type of path, but I guess my calling was to serve the nation. And they said, well, what do you want to, well, first of all, my grandfather said, hey, recommend you go to college. I said, well, how am I going to pay for that? He said this thing called ROTC, Reserve Officer Training Corps. So I thought, okay, I'll take a look at that. And of course, I also joined the Wisconsin National Guard to help pay for school. And it was a wonderful journey. And that's, again, 33 years in the Army. Large family. My oldest daughter is a 2013 West Point grad. Yeah. Loves it. Can't get enough. Field artillery officer, one of the first ones for Cannon Artillery. And she just redeployed from Tunisia, Africa, about last week. So she was able to fly in and stay a few days with us. Second daughter enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps. and did 8 years, met her husband there, and of course, they were assigned to 8th and I when I was assigned to the Old Guard. So I can check on them. But of course, they're married, and we have 3 grandchildren. And then we have others, they're, at home, but our sophomore in Fort Knox High is a junior ROTC student. And I love it because she'll come in her uniform and say, "Okay, Dad, inspect me." I say, "Okay, I'm not going to do that, but you look great." But this is, this is my story and why I think it's so very important. Nobody, super special. I'm just like you. I grew up in a, town, parents, family, just like you, but I chose to serve this nation, and this is where it's taken me. But what I grew up and was exposed to is different than what you see today. So let me give you an example, and hopefully it helps you understand the environment. So in Milwaukee, my grandfather was a World War II vet, but believe it or not, many on the street of the homeowners, they were mostly either Korean or World War II vets. So when they would come together every 4th of July, we'll have these things called the street. I don't know if many knew about the street parties, or where they cut off, shut down the roads and everybody can bring their barbecues out in the street. And then I loved it because, by the end of the night, there'll either be some kids playing on their instruments, or the grown-ups will be playing cards, or all those things. But so fast forward, and that number who have served and those that influence has been decreasing over the years. Now, think about, let me place you in my role as the Chief of Staff of Army Future Command in Austin, Texas. So I lived in Southwest Austin, Texas. It was a wonderful opportunity, great city, fast-growing city. But in our neighborhood, and I didn't live on a post, I lived right there in the city, and our family lived in the neighborhood. We were the only military family with, either 10 homes on either side. So that just gives you, there's a difference, so that awareness level is a lot lower than what it was. What we grew up, all of us knew that, but this is the current environment where those who are making the decision to serve, those 17, 18, 19-year-olds see it a little bit differently. Case in point with my own, family. My oldest daughter in her 30s, but my teenagers see it differently. So this is something that, I think everyone needs to understand the dynamic as this nation continues to mature and the next generation, or Generation Z, goes on to lead this nation. So I had the opportunity, I wanted to check and see, okay, is this really true? Because there's some things that we all grew up believing. So I had the opportunity to visit a event in Indianapolis, Future Farmers of America. I don't know if anybody remember, but it was 70,000 high schoolers, and it was just wonderful to see them all in their jackets. And I was able to speak to about 50 of them in a group. And I said, "Hey, what are your conceptions? What do you think is about the service?" And they said, "Well," and this really caught up with me, and I had to share this with you. I said, what are your thoughts? I mean, what do you think about in terms of compensation, family life? And this is one of the questions. "Well, sir, I heard, or is it true, and I've been told that if I attend basic training in AIT, I will not be paid until I complete it." I said, "That's not true. So 22 weeks and then 12 weeks, and we're not going to pay you for 6 months? That's not true." Or, I'm not allowed to own a car for a year. That's not true. So if I have a family and I join the military, I was told I can't own a pet. That's not. Yeah, this is 100%. I said, "That's not true." And I said, "Where are you getting this from?" So, but these are the so when you think about that, and then you think about those that have not served around them, there's no one there to correct it. No one say, "Hey, that's actually not true." But everyone else is like, "I don't know." So this is what's going on out there, and I need your help to really answer those questions, because I think what we assume is known is not known. and I just want to share that with you. So again, I chose the Army to pay for college. What do you think the percent of new recruits that say college is the number one reason for joining? To pay for college?
92.
5%. So again, these are, I mean, they're eye-opening. This is the current environment. The youth want organization to embody their values. Just like we did. We all had the same type of, calling and value proposition. But, some that we speak with, environmental change, we want social change, want a lot of different things. So you almost have to understand the Generation Z and what motivates them, and then you have to tailor your value proposition. And that's what we're trying to do right now, and trying to connect with these future. They're like us. They're going to go on and do great things and then lead this nation. But we just have to help them, see all of the, what impact they make when involving the entire nation. So I need to, share that with you, because these are what I'm seeing on the ground. And I'm being very, open and transparent. So what am I doing inside the command? Well, one, this recruiting mission it didn't start overnight. And this has been going on for a few years. So what I saw is, it's a stress. So there's these men and women who were, remember, stationed on post with everything, commissary PX, military treatment facilities, everything. And now we take that superstar sergeant, 23 years old, new family, and then we ask them to go to Appleton, Wisconsin, and serve, and their office is in a strip mall. So this is a big jump. This is a big, transition. So what I thought was, we have to help them understand this transition, because it's a big deal. And what I've done is created a people week. So I've extended the Army Recruiting College to focus on these families. I want them to land in wherever they are, in whatever zip code, Montana, Utah, you name it, Maine. I want them to land and be comfortable and just hit the ground and crush it. Because in the past, there would be some anxiety. How am I going to pay for, the cost of living here is too high. They need to know that we understand that, and we're helping them with that transition. So that's one thing. So training, recertification. I brought in I'm going to bring in every station commander around the world, 1,600 of them, 150 a week for 10 weeks. And I'm going to help them recertify them on the current environment. Some of them have not been back for training for 3 to 4 to 5 years. A lot has changed in 5 years, don't you agree? So I thought this is, right now we're on class 6. It has been 100%, they just love it. They needed to re-blue themselves compared to what they believed was the environment 5 or 6 years ago. So the next initiative we pushed for is, the Future Soldier Prep Course. Anybody hear about that? So it is a course that, we know that the percent that are eligible are really 23%. We knew that they were going to have, whether it's 10 years ago, 20 years, we're going to have those who would be ineligible for military service. You agree? But we can't stand by and let this number keep dropping, whether it's for academic, physical, or whatever. So we wanted to invest in this population. It's called the Future Soldier Prep Course. It is, I would tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there was some apprehension because we're looking at a population that would not potentially otherwise qualify, whether it be physical or academic. COVID could have played a part. I don't care. I just want to invest in our future. And what we found out is when you bring them into that structured environment, and then they meet their friends to left and right who have the same goals and drive, and we're not teaching them the test, we're teaching them math. We're teaching them, sentence structure. We're teaching them how to, write, how to, put, critical thoughts together. And so what we've seen is a 97% graduation rate. So that says, this investment and these men and women is about over 4,500, and it's growing every week. And they go from there, they're qualified, both physical and academic, and then they go on to basic training. The first classes that we started 6 months ago are now graduating, and now there are leaders in their advanced training. So now we've invested in them, and now they're investing back in the Army. They're us. This is their Army journey. So that is what I wanted to share with you, because this is such a transformational, thing. And we're still focused on quality over quantity. I got my daughter's in. I want to make sure there's quality over quantity. I see it just like you do. And we have to really look at that value proposition. But what I would ask you to do is really, from a call to action, help create this, if you see someone and they're thinking about service, help them think through that value proposition. Help them, I can help you, but what we want to do is just help educate them. Just educate them on the opportunities. Everyone in here who has served knows the impact of service to this nation. And what we want to do is continue to share that, because it is so very important. So, become a partner and help, educate those to your left and right. Help connect those recruiters in your home, town or your neighborhood with the local recruiters at the recruiting station. Some are apprehensive about taking a trip down to a recruiting station. Help them, take that next step. Invest in them, just as those who have invested in me. So this is all about, after 2.5 years of COVID without being in schools, that's had an impact on millions because recruiters didn't have access. Now we're trying to get back that access, and we're doing a good job. Matter of fact, Secretary was just here in Chicago discussing this very point. But that is something that we are so focused to get back into the schools, talk with the students, the counselors, the superintendent, the influencers, and that's you. That's why I can't say no, and I travel so often, because this is what I share. They're just like us. We just have to help them see the value proposition and what catches them, just as those things that caught your attention and caused you to do, succeed in whatever you've done. So I will stop right there, but I just wanted to say to each and every one of you, thanks for the opportunity to really share my Army story, share with you what is happening across the force and your United States Army. We're momentum is building, and we knew it would. We're doing better than we did last year. Certainly not where we want to be, but we're doing better. And last month was a great month. These are thousands of recruiters out there just trying to make it happen, and they are. And so when you see them out there recruiting station, I'm not saying deliver cookies to them, but maybe can, maybe you should. I try to bring donuts, and they just tear them right up. But just say thanks, because they're us. So God bless you. Thank you for being here tonight. What a wonderful opportunity to share. And if you have any questions, I'll certainly be able to answer them afterwards. Again, God bless you all. Thank you.